Hello and welcome back to Shelf Centered. This is Bryce. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If this is something you end up enjoying, you never know, it could happen. Well, this is the next installment in my top 100 science fiction books of all time. I've given all the qualifications in the initial video that starts with 100, so check that out if you want to see kind of how I made the list. I think it makes sense, but anyway, there are some stretches here and there. I have to concede that, but these are mostly what I consider science fiction. So anyway, let's jump into number 70. All right, number 70, we're going with Spin by Robert Charles Wilson. This is one that is a classic in science fiction. Essentially, the Earth is like in this crazy like time trap or something, and it's going like super speedy as opposed to the rest of the universe. And so it's like we got to figure that out. We got to figure out what's going on, how to stop it, all these things going on. Lots of good science involved in it. It's very entertaining. I think I get some of these where I'm like, they're so in my mind like these has got to be the best thing ever. And I don't think I liked it as much as I thought I would, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit. All right, 69, we're going with Brilliance by Marcus Saki. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but this is a cool series that is kind of almost like a superhero series to some degree, but not. But it's entertaining. It's like a spy thriller too, but with kind of almost superheroes. Got a lot going for it. It's got a great blazing pace, and anyway, so but not a lot of people talk about it. So anyway, I think you'll like it. Let me know. All right, 68, I'm going with The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. And this is one where I got an advanced reading copy at the time. This was like, there was so much money spent into this, the marketing push. It was going to be the next Hunger Games or whatever. It didn't become that. I think it did okay. I think it did fine. But it was an entertaining enough concept, and it was really interesting. This kind of like the aliens are coming, and the first wave they did this, the second wave was this, now we're on to the fifth wave and it's bad. So just humanity dealing with that, and it's pretty interesting. All right, number 67, we're going with Daddy's World by Walter John Williams. This is one I need to read more Walter John Williams because I really enjoyed this. It's got a great concept. It might even be just a short story. I tried not to include too many of these just on their own, more short story collections if I did add any. But it's a cool concept, very interesting, has you thinking, all the things of great classic sci-fi, especially in a short little package. So anyway, it's good. All right, 66, I'm going with Downside Girls by Jane Fenn. Speaking of collections, this is like 4 novellas, I think, all in one, maybe a short story in there. Really, really well done. Made me really enjoy, I enjoyed them a lot and want more, and definitely want more. It was a really cool concept. I think I struggled with the last one a little bit of the 4, but other than that, they were just stellar, really good reads, highly entertaining. So definitely check that out. Anyway, I don't want to spoil too much. All right, number 65, Titanium Noir by Nick Harkaway. I am a Nick Harkaway fan. I've read a couple now. This is cool. This is an interesting sci-fi concept of humanity trying to keep itself alive and immortal. And so it's an interesting one, but it's also it's noir. So it's a detective noir story too, because one of the immortals, as you can imagine, you may have already guessed it, dies. And they're not quite immortal, but they're like, they live a long time. And so anyway, it's really interesting. And so part of it too is just that they grow then is when they start, taking the drugs for it. And so then they become titans, become bigger and bigger, because that's part of the slowing of the age process. I really enjoyed it, and I like Nick Harkaway a lot. 64, we've got 1984 by George Orwell. This is a classic. One of the few books in high school that I really did like, that I was forced to read. It's hard. It's just harder to like them when you're forced to read them, I feel like. And maybe that's just me. I'm a contrarian to some degree. As much as people call me a lawyer for bunnies or something, because I do try to stay nice, try to stay adult here, right, on the internet. We can have one space that's at least for the adults. Anyway, but 1984 is it's a classic for a reason. It's concerning. I think any aisle of the political aisle, whatever aisle, you can be worried about it for the other side. So doing the same thing, it's just, and it's a concern, and it's something we should be well aware of. Some of the things in it are just, it's totally what you can see happening, and that's I think probably the worst part about it. And I mean, having read The Gulag Archipelago by Solzhenitsyn, that was trying to do it essentially with less technology. And so I felt like it, at least. Anyway, it's a classic. You've already read it, probably. All right, number 63, we're going with The Mirrored Heavens. It's a series, it's a trilogy. I got Burning Skies was all I could find. This is the second book in it, and I realized, because this is a review copy I got back in the day, and I had a nice little signed note from the author, so that was nice. I really enjoyed this. This series is I read it, I guess, at your peril a little bit. I've never read a series that's more fast-paced than this. It is crazy fast-paced. Even for me, who was willing to take it on and give it a chance, almost too fast-paced to where you're what is even happening? And it's just moving on and on. I mean, it is just the fastest, most lightning quick plot that you have ever seen. It is nuts. Anyway, it's cool sci-fi concept, lots of good stuff. Started just introducing me to things that I know have already been established in other science fiction, but really interesting stuff. All right, 62. What would a list of anything be when it comes to books that I've read be without some Brandon Sanderson? So I'm gonna count this as science fiction. It's as close as I think this can get. I mean, it's there's superhero fiction, whatever. That's what it is too. But there's a lot of devices and technology used here. But I thought this is just a fun trilogy that my kids have been blazing through, so that's why they're looking a little beat up, which is what I love. That's when you know they're well loved. But anyway, good series, entertaining, lots of cool concepts, lots of cool technologies, technically, and maybe some aren't technologies. But anyway, I thought it's a cool concept, really interesting, and kind of utilizing a power in a different way. And I like how Sanderson always kind of pushes that. But really, it comes down to, what if people had superpowers, but they became evil with them, and not like The Boys, where they just were human with them, which some is just evil, but literally became actually evil with them. All right, and then 61, this is a pretty recent read for me. It's going to be St. Elspeth by Wick Welker. I was just very surprised by how much I like this. It is maybe more in the post-apocalyptic kind of realm, but it is, anyway, it's a future, and it's, again, I've been counting out most post-apocalyptics, but it is a future. It's well done. It's really good on focusing on the characters, kind of what they would do. St. Elspeth is just so good. It's written by an actual medical doctor, and then the main character is a medical doctor. Write what you know. Not that he's done that, because I've read another book that you haven't seen on the list yet that you'll see that didn't have a doctor focus. But this was really fun to know that it was at least bound in some kind of reality too. So very entertaining, very good, just a good character study, very well. I just absolutely loved it. All right, that's been 70 through 61 on my list of my top 100 science fiction books of all time. So hopefully you got anything out of that. Again, that's the hope, is with doing a list this massive, that there's something you haven't read and that you might discover and you might like. So anyway, check it out and let me know how it goes. I'll catch you next time. Bye.